We'd love to be able to look at an archaeological discovery and instantly understand everything about it. So would professional archaeologists and researchers. They're tripped up by puzzling discoveries more often than they'd care to admit, and sometimes the answers escape them no matter how hard they dig. Whether partly unexplained or completely enigmatic, every single thing you're about to see in this video is a discovery that gave experts a very serious headache. Number 15. The Devil's Footprint in Maine. The idea that the devil once walked on American soil may sound joke, but good luck convincing the people of Manchester, Maine otherwise. As far as they're concerned, the so-called Devil's Footprint is indisputable proof that something sinister once existed here. The odd, red-scorched marking can be seen embedded in a cemetery's stone fence. Local legend claims that during a centuries-old building project, workers couldn't move a certain rock. One jokingly offered his soul to the devil if the stone could be shifted. By morning, the worker had vanished, the rock had moved, and the footprint-shaped scorch mark had appeared on its side. This supposedly happened before the North Manchester Meeting House was built in 1793, which still operates as a church today. The footprint faces the church's front entrance, a peculiar detail for a place of worship. Whether taken as folklore or a warning, locals treat the mark as something more than myth. Number 14. The Headless Buddha of Chongqing. In December 2020, residents of an apartment complex in Chongqing, southwest China, decided to clear out an overgrown patch of vegetation behind their building. As soon as they started, it became obvious that the area hadn't been maintained in decades. If it had, they would have known their entire building backed up against a huge headless Buddha statue. Archaeologists are still studying the site, but initial findings suggest the statue is around 1,000 years old and stands roughly 30 feet tall. One resident in his 60s swears he saw the statue as a child and says it had a head back then. He has no idea what could have happened to it. Another neighbor remembers that a temple once stood on the site before the apartment was built in the 1980s, but no official records confirm that. Decapitating a Buddha statue would have been considered sacrilegious, which may explain why no documentation exists. Today, it's just sitting there. Number 13. The Double Coffin Mystery of Leicester. Several years after King Richard III's remains were famously unearthed at the former Grey Friars Church in Leicester, archaeologists found something just as perplexing: a coffin inside a coffin. At first, they weren't sure whether to open it, but curiosity eventually won. The outer coffin, carved from stone with a lid so heavy it required 8 people to lift, dated to the 14th century. Inside was a smaller lead-lined coffin engraved with a crucifix. While it may have been made during the same period, some experts believe it could be far older. Oddly, the foot of the inner coffin is damaged, prompting theories that it may have been exhumed and reburied within the larger stone casing. That suggests whoever sealed it feared the person inside might rise again, so they encased it a second time to make sure they stayed buried. Whether symbolic or superstitious, it's an unsettling glimpse into medieval burial anxieties, and it's just super scary. Number 12. The Bronze Helmet in Haifa Harbor. When this beautifully crafted bronze Greek warrior's helmet was found on the seabed at Haifa Harbor in Israel a few years back, it left archaeologists with 2 pressing questions. How did it end up there, and who did it belong to? The helmet, believed to be around 2,500 years old, almost certainly wasn't worn by a common soldier. It's covered in intricate engravings of animals, far too lavish for a standard issue. The design is so ornate, it's considered one of the most elaborate pieces of ancient Greek armor ever unearthed. Experts think it may be connected to the Persian Wars. It likely fell overboard from a warship used by the Greek Navy during a clash with the Persians, who controlled Israel at the time. Forged from a single sheet of bronze using heating and hammering methods, it's a remarkable feat, light enough to shield the head without weighing it down. Today, the helmet is housed in Haifa's National Museum. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Number 11. The Rocky Valley Labyrinth of Cornwall. Tintagel Castle in Cornwall might steal the spotlight, but just a mile away lie the Rocky Valley Labyrinths, ancient carvings shrouded in mystery. Tucked near the ruins of a forgotten mill, these stone-etched labyrinths are believed to date back to the Bronze Age, although some argue they might be even older. Because of their hidden location, the carvings remained unnoticed until 1948, when a passenger spotted them from a low-flying plane. What they signify remains up for debate. Some believe they're symbols of fertility linked to ancient Celtic traditions. Others claim the site holds spiritual importance to modern-day pagans who gather annually for rituals. Then there are skeptics who argue the patterns were etched by bored 18th-century mill workers. But given the effort involved in carving solid rock, that seems unlikely. With no concrete explanation and no matching examples elsewhere, it's an unsolved mystery. Number 10. Unnamed marble structure in Istanbul. At least the archaeologists who uncovered that Greek helmet in Israel recognized what they'd found. The same can't be said for those who discovered this peculiar structure in Istanbul in 2018. They had no idea what they were looking at then, and they still didn't. Nothing remotely like it has ever been recovered before, and it's so unique that researchers can't even assign it a proper classification. Beneath the structure, mass graves were found, suggesting possible ceremonial or spiritual importance. Supporting that theory is the fact that the structure is made of finely cut marble blocks, materials far too refined for an ordinary build. Estimating its age has also proven difficult. A hoard of 2,700-year-old coins was recovered nearby, but the coins could predate or post-date the structure. It's likely too big to be a temple, yet without any comparable examples, no explanation can be ruled out. Excavation is still ongoing, with experts hoping for clarity. Number 9. The Toad-Faced Mural of Peru. Peru is no stranger to archaeological wonders, but even for Peru, this 2019 find was a bit out of left field. Hidden inside a ruined ceremonial building near the Vitama site, just outside Lima, was a 3,800-year-old mural unlike any other. The artwork shows what looks like a toad with a human-like smile reaching toward a human head. Dr. Ruth Shady Solis, an expert in ancient Andean cultures, believes the toad symbolizes rainfall, with the smiling face representing life. Nearby, another mural shows a human head surrounded by snakes, whose meaning is less clear. Dr. Solis speculates that both were created during a time of drought, when the region's civilization was beginning to decline. If true, these surreal artworks could be spiritual responses to the environmental crisis. They're not just ceremonial wall art, they're desperate messages from a collapsing culture. And their strange symbolism might be all we have left to understand what they were trying to say. Number 8. Ancient mounds in Jerusalem. The strange earth mounds across Jerusalem have been sitting in plain sight for generations, so long that most people barely notice them anymore. But they should. Someone built these huge structures from stone and mud over 2,500 years ago, and we still don't understand why. The tallest of them towered above modern 6-story buildings, meaning they were enormous undertakings for their time. Archaeologists have excavated some of the mounds. While most were empty, one was found enclosing a 2,700-year-old storage site containing jar handles, many stamped with the seal of the Kingdom of Judah. That might link them to the First Temple period, but the connection remains unclear. Without a better explanation, some locals believe the mounds were created by the Rephaim, giants mentioned in the Old Testament as living in Canaan. That theory may sound far-fetched, but even if it were true, what would such giants have used these mounds for? Well, now that part no one knows. That's the lingering mystery. Number 7. The sea serpent fossil of County Durham. In 2010, paleontologists working in a quarry in County Durham, England, unearthed a fossil so strange they couldn't identify it. When they passed it to experts at London's Natural History Museum, even they were stumped. The fossil resembles a snake-like sea creature and dates back 250 million years to the Zechstein Sea era, when this region was underwater. Found in marl slate deposits, usually rich with fossilized fish, this specimen is unlike anything else discovered in that formation. Some speculate it could be an ancient eel relative, but no firm classification has ever been agreed upon. Its oddly preserved form has no matching species or evolutionary counterpart. More than a decade later, scientists still have no idea what it is. Public input hasn't helped either. Whatever this fossil represents, it remains an outlier, one that refuses to be named, classified, or explained. BBC experts say it belongs to a pliosaur, but who knows? Number 6. The Clockjack of Lincoln Cathedral. If you've ever visited Lincoln in the UK, you'd understand how massive its cathedral really is. So massive, in fact, that it still holds secrets. In 2018, a 3-foot-tall wooden statue of a knight, possibly part of an ancient clock, was found during an inventory of one of the cathedral's towers. Why it was removed or hidden remains unknown. Though the statue's name is lost, it's now called a clockjack, and experts think it may have once been attached to a timekeeping mechanism in the north vestibule. The clock itself has been rebuilt many times, but some original components, like the canopy, date back to the 1380s. The knight statue isn't likely to be that old, though. Its bearded face and armor style suggest a 16th century origin. Whether it was part of the clock or ceremonial decoration, its rediscovery is a reminder that even after centuries, cathedrals can still hold surprises behind beams, in towers, or buried in archives. Number 5. The Laguna Copperplate Inscription. Ancient Philippine history remains hazy, which makes the Laguna Copperplate inscription, found in 1989 during dredging of the Lumbang River, an invaluable clue. Thought to be over 1,000 years old, the copper plate is inscribed in early Kawi script, a style that originated in Java, Indonesia. That detail alone hints that the region wasn't as isolated as once assumed. The message itself is confusing. Hail! In the Saka year 822, month of April, on the 4th day of the dark half of the moon, Monday. Without context or a companion inscription, the words don't mean much. The writing is incomplete and baffling, but its existence shows that whoever created it understood astronomy, foreign scripts, and some form of calendrical system. For now, it's still the oldest known written artifact in the country. If another plate ever turns up, we might finally get the full story. Until then, it's a puzzle written in bronze, stuck between fact and speculation. Number 4. The Camel Site of Saudi Arabia. In the deserts of Saudi Arabia's Al Jawf province, towering stone camel sculptures rise from the sand, some of the most enigmatic ancient carvings in the world. These massive figures, located at the Camel Site in the Sakaka Basin, were originally thought to be natural formations. Now archaeologists agree. They were human-made. Weathering and erosion have erased any organic material that could be carbon-dated, but the carvings are estimated to be over 2,000 years old, possibly even older. Unlike most ancient sites, these camels weren't just carved onto rocks. They were carved into entire boulders, shaped to resemble full camels. Later, more detailed reliefs were added, likely to preserve their image or honor the animals. The sheer scale and effort involved in creating them suggest cultural or spiritual significance, but no written records exist from the people who made them. What do you think about it? Well, let us know. Number 3. The Puzzle Balls of Ancient China. For decades, people have struggled with the Rubik's Cube, but centuries before it existed, ancient Chinese artisans crafted their own test of patience, puzzle balls. These intricate 14th century ivory spheres feature as many as 20 interlocking layers, all carved from a single solid piece. The objective was to align all holes so one could see through the very center. These delicate, frustrating marvels originated in Jiangsu province, particularly Gongxian, which became the epicenter of puzzle ball production until the 1800s. Scholar Cao Zhao of the Ming dynasty famously owned a few and once described them as crafted by the devil himself. Despite their age, no one has fully explained how they were made. Today, the surviving examples, illegal to reproduce now due to ivory bans, are kept sealed behind museum glass. Their layered complexity, perfect symmetry, and mysterious origins continue to baffle both craftsmen and engineers alike, making them not just puzzles, but timeless engineering enigmas. Number 2. Nevada's mysterious petroglyphs. Some of the oldest known petroglyphs in North America were uncovered in Nevada in 2013, and they've puzzled experts ever since. Carved by indigenous peoples more than 10,000 years ago, possibly even 15, the engravings include abstract patterns like diamonds, circles, waves, and a few resembling animals. Because the etchings are cut nearly an inch into the rock, they've managed to survive millennia. What's more intriguing is what the surrounding geology reveals. This area was once a lake bed. Evidence shows that the petroglyphs were carved during a dry spell right before 2 wet periods returned and coated them in a thin white mineral layer. That layer helped preserve them while also hinting at their age. These markings might have been early forms of storytelling, spiritual records, or navigational symbols. No one can say for certain. Number 1. The megalithic tombs of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's early history remains underexplored, making its ancient burial sites invaluable. Among the most significant are the megalithic tombs, believed to date back roughly 2,700 years, possibly even older. These prehistoric structures are spread over nearly a square mile and separated into 42 distinct clusters. Each tomb is constructed from 4 upright stone slabs, with a 5th placed on top like a lid. The remains inside show signs of partial cremation, suggesting fire played a ritual role in the burial process. Alongside the bodies, archaeologists have found ceremonial urns, as well as gold and copper artifacts, likely belonging to the deceased. But there's a bigger mystery. It's widely suspected that the people buried there weren't the first to occupy the tombs. This layered reuse suggests a long, complex tradition that hasn't yet been decoded. Despite multiple digs, researchers still don't know who these people were or what led them to create such an organized necropolis. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you soon.